Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Today we have a special edition for you guys. I'm speaking with the college student named Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Now, the reason why we have this college student on, because as you all know, this is our future generation. And sometimes you have to silence yourself and listen to your future on the way that they see things. They're sort of like a judge in a sense to give their opinion on the way adults have been handling life. And then if we are found in error, then their job is to correct our mistakes to make it a better future for themselves and the next generation that's coming behind them, and also the next generation that's coming behind that generation. So, Michelle.
Yes.
With all of this racial tension, all of the mass shootings that's taking place since they're kind of lifting some of the restraints of COVID, and on top of that, a big issue on Deshaun Watson and his sexual assault charges that's been filed on him by 24 women at this point. Right. How can we curve this thing or change the current dynamics of society and make it a better place through the eyes of our future generation?
A way I think that we can kind of curve this is teaching racial tolerance, which is basically like understanding that we all come from different places and that we're all different people, but still respecting each other's differences.
Okay, exactly. But how do you weed out of the minds of a generational ideology that's been passed down? Because they say that it starts at home.
And that is true. It does start. It's been implanted into people because I honestly believe that racism is taught. No one is exactly born racist. I think that it is something put into people at a very young age, so that way they grow up thinking these ideologies about races. It's just like, prejudices and prejudgments and stuff like that. One way to do it is just to simply get therapy.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. Because, parents teach that ideology to their children. And then is it the educational system to have a curriculum where children can go in and talk about their stereotypes of other races? Because sometimes you'll hear kids who never even have a friend of a different race, but they feel as though all blacks do this and all whites do this and all Asians do this, and try to pinpoint the root on where did this stereotype come from. Like for instance, they say all black men know how to play basketball.
Right. Well, in schools, we had something called character education, which was a class that basically really broke down all this type of stuff, where it talked about racial differences, stereotypes, and things such as that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if more schools kind of did programs like that or held seminars really explaining stereotypes, explaining the fact that we're all different, but we still deserve the same amount of respect. If we have more classes or more seminars that held these type of what do I want to call it?
The courses?
Courses. That would help.
Now, how do you demand respect from other races who carry on, let's say, a antiquated ideology on race, who still think that this is the 1800s or Jim Crow or whatnot. And I'm talking about the colonizer and his children who want to perpetuate that same mindset in today's time. Do you, if they say, for instance, they use a racial epithet, do you go to the principal? Do you check them yourselves? Do you call the authorities?
I feel as though whenever you are put in a position like that, it kind of depends on how far that they're taking it. Especially if you're in a school setting, the best thing to do is go get a principal to handle it correctly. But I mean on a larger, wider scale, like out in public or something like that, I just feel like they're going to have stereotypes about you regardless. But the thing to do is just kind of work against them. Kind of prove them wrong that I'm not your stereotype or I'm not what you think of me.
Right, because that goes then within a knowledge of who you are or a pride within oneself to know that you're not what they say you are. Because a lot of people, they fold and they get hurt and feel they get hurt. Like, oh, how could you do this? But you're right. If you know who you are, then those words have no power, have no effect.
Exactly.
That's a good strategy that some of us adults have to learn, you know, because in this recent massage therapy killings that the guy did and went in and killed 6 Asians, but he killed 8 in total. I don't know, because I can't get up in his mindset, because the sheriff said that he just had a bad day, but come on, who has a bad day and go kill up 8 people?
Right. But before all that, he had on his Facebook page, he had anti-Asian stuff on there anyway. He had a shirt that was pretty racist that says something like "Get away, China," the way Donald Trump would say it.
See, and now look at the Asian community response. They're buying up weapons. They are flocking to the gun stores, purchasing weapons to defend themselves. And if you listen to some of my previous podcasts, I talk about Jesse Glover and how when he got attacked by the police, he was one of Bruce Lee's first teachers. And Bruce Lee taught him how to defend himself due to that incident. I'm just simply saying that in human beings, one of your first knowledges is self-preservation, to take care of yourself, right? To make sure you're okay. And we gotta get that message over to minority communities without the violence being attached to it. Meaning, we want to curb all the negativity and the violence before it explodes, and hopefully your generation could be the one that can actually do it. I mean, it's even though it's been going on for 400 years since slavery, but it's like, I guess, are you feeling that people saying enough is enough on our sides, or will it always be this thing of racism that still we have got to contend with as we move forward into the future?
Racism will always pretty much be here in America, but I still feel like, as the black community, I still feel like we are progressing. I feel like there's more representation in the media. I still feel like there's more awareness in social media. So racism is, sadly, it's still going to be here, but I feel like the more that the black community unites, I feel like if we unite more, then we can really stop some of the issues within our own community.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's another thing. Critical thinking skills. By you being a college student, you all get different subject matters, and that is across the board to where you could be introduced into certain things because you have the capacity to extract what is beneficial or good for you and push away what's negative and bad for you. You know, and they expect that because y'all are young adults. And we need conflict resolution within the black community when people disagree to where they won't get into their feelings and get blinded by rage and pull a weapon on someone and kill someone in that short time span of when they lost it. They blew their lid and just went blank.
Right.
You have any suggestions or methods on conflict resolution?
And within the black community, or
Right.
just
Yeah, how we handle disputes to make sure they don't turn violent.
I feel like one way for us to have resolutions is to really stand together. I feel like we're so divided, but if we were to really put our differences aside and stand together as black people and have have confidence in who we are as a people. I think that's the problem. So many people are, that's the thing, so many people are afraid to take a stand because they don't want to be called out and be told, especially like the angry black woman trope. It makes it really hard for them to want to stand up to even voice their opinion without being told, because you get told that from other races and even within your own race, especially when they're actually going through something serious. So I feel like if we just kind of have more faith within our community and ourselves as just black people, there wouldn't be this lack of unity.
Right. Well said. Well, we we'd be able to focus on buying land and
we're still on these really old issues of colorism and the really old issues of black women versus black men. Like we're still behind.
Right. We dealing with issues that don't even really matter, add to your bottom line at all.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we're all still black, and that's how a lot of these other races, they depend on us to be divided. Especially, white people and their white supremacy. They depend on us to be separated from each other. Separate the man from the woman. Separate, the darker people versus the lighter people.
Willie Lynch.
Exactly.
Thank you for educating us old folks today. And getting us straight, and we need to align with the youth mindset and create one big, strong, gigantic mind and move forward in the future.
Right.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Vero Pick Radio, we're out.
We're out.